Welcome guys back to another video. Today we are going to start a series which is going to go along with my Create Steam and Gasoline series. And it's essentially going to just be create tutorials. So today we are just going to do basics. Now and this does use the same mod pack, so if you wanna use the same mod pack, you could, because a few of the tutorials are gonna be special to things like nuclear reactors. But this is nothing fancy. Honestly, if you have basic knowledge of the Create mod, you can skip this easily. But here we go. These are the main first things you're going to use in the Create mod for power. Actually, I should probably explain the nature of power. So, for example, setup. Here we go, water wheel. See, you just put water around it and it starts going. And you actually probably eventually, you can't get these in this point in the game yet, but if you put these in, actually I'll just save it for later. But there are these things called stressometers, and speedometers. Essentially, this shows you how close your machine is to overstressing, which I'm about to explain right now. So, this only has so much stress capacity, so if I just go ahead and put these goggles on, it shows you that this has 256 SU, which stands for stress units. This is the basic unit of power. And now, if we were to search for a mechanical press, oh yes, here it is. A mechanical press. Actually, this is one of the earliest forms of stress movement, cogwheels. For those who don't know what cogwheels are in real life, I don't know who doesn't. They're essentially just gears. Now you see, this uses 64 SU at the moment, and it doesn't matter. All you need to know is you can send one of these directly in here. Now this is the first machine you are going to need in the game, and actually you can go ahead and just use it. You can just put an item under there and it will turn it into a sheet. So for example, now we have golden sheet, which we can use for goggles. Here. However, how this works is, if we need to determine how much stress something is going to use, we first need the speedometer now that we have. Now that we can actually use it. So if we put it here, it will tell us this thing is rotating at 8 RPM. Wait. Okay, I thought it was 16. Oh well. However, 8 times 8 obviously is 64. So here this thing is going to use 64 SU. Now, if we were to now if we just do this, this works. However, if we put this, it is going to work. However, if we add one more, it's going to overstress. And let's see what happens here. Once overstressed, everything just completely and utterly stops moving. If I put something here, it doesn't work. Now, once you get rid of this, it completely works fine. Now, here are the main 3 sources of energy, plus one that's kind of unique to this mod pack, but it's fine. So, we have, steam engine, which I realize I have to put on the tank. So here we have steam engine, which this is a very bad steam engine. This doesn't work, but they're gonna have to get a tutorial of their own. Here's the steam engine, and then obviously there's the water wheel. And the windmill is actually somewhat simple too, so I'll go ahead and explain that. The only thing is, I think it's a little bit more expensive than it really should be. But for example, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. Also, I should clarify, I'm gonna actually say if something actually. Alright, this looks ugly. As I was saying, I'm gonna actually clarify if something needs if it needs slime or not, because I know that's a little bit of a harder item to get early in the game. So now, there are 2 ways of doing this. This is the first one. In this case, you are going to need slime, and you're going to have to make that into super glue. Now, you can see it works. And this is generating 1024 SU. So, 4 times as much as this. Which is good. However, you guys know how to create you guys know how to create and use stress units, but as I was saying, these things are all kind of limited to a specific speed. How do we stop that? Now, I'm going to leave this speedometer here so that you know. And obviously, before we do that, let's just go over how to move stress units around. There's cogs, and then you can use shafts to move them like this. And then, but what if you want to rotate them? That's what this large was part of what this large cog wheel is for. You see, they interlock at the sides, and then you can make you go like this. interesting. So, we could just do something like, I don't know, this. Now you transferred everything around. Now, it's time for how to change the speed of it. This is something you will be doing a lot in early game create, and honestly, sometimes I can't be bothered to do something more complicated, so I just do this anyways in late game. Well, mid game. I go ahead and make a gear ratio, which, essentially, you place down a cogwheel. When you look at it when you place down a large cogwheel, when you look at one of the corners of it, or here it doesn't. Here you go. When you look at one of the corners of it, it will give you an option to place it. It has to be empty, I should clarify. It won't work over. However, once you do that, you will notice that it appears to be spinning faster than if I were to, this is really messy, I don't know why I did it this way, but if you head over here, it seems like this one is going a lot faster. If we put a speedometer, this one's going at 8 RPM still, and this one's going at 16. Now, you can essentially just do that over and over again. So, like, suddenly you'll reach a point where you're going at max speed of the game, of the mod, which is 256 RPM. Now, I think this is kind of just common sense, but RPM stands for rotations per minute, and it's a measure of how fast things spin. So, essentially, this thing spins 256 times a minute. Which, I don't know, I don't feel like doing the math right now. Somewhere around 4 times a second. Okay. Alright, anyways. Now, how do you make all this stuff? So, I'm just gonna get most of the raw materials you need here. And you don't need stacks of all of these. I should clarify. So, you go to a crafting table. Actually, these need to be iron nuggets. You just have to do a recipe like this, or it can be the other way around. It can also be the iron here and the andesite here. And that will give you something called andesite alloy, which you need. Now, you might notice that some of the machines like this, also, you can craft a shaft using you can craft 8 shafts using these. You can use these for transferring stuff. like I explained earlier. And then if you want to craft a cogwheel, it's also pretty simple. Just do this. And now, let's just make some extra shafts. And you might notice that if I take up, like, Preston, for example. Now obviously this is gonna overstress. Now, let's just make sure you know what you're doing. So if it's 8 RPM, and it's 8 RPM for every one of those, what is the maximum RPM that it could operate at? You said 16 you're first. Or maybe you're not. I take it back. I failed at math. Sad. 32 is the maximum. Because wait, why am I such an idiot? I see. Anyways, mechanical press. You might notice there's these little decorative looking stuff around it. That block called andesite casing. Now this on its own doesn't have too much of a use. I mean, you can use it to shafts. Or cogwheels. And that's about it. Then, how do you get this then? So, you might notice that I have some stripped logs here. Why would I do stripped instead of normal? Because you need to do these 2 strip logs. Now, you don't technically have to do this, I don't think, but in the beginning of the game, you have to right-click on it. You have to right-click on a stripped log with an andesite outline. Now, eventually, you can use these things called deployers, but we don't need those yet. Now, I think that's probably about it. Other than one last way of transporting stuff, you can make belts. Which just costs 6 red kelp, or if you have create dreams and desires, also you can use 6 rubber. However, this mechanical belt will transport rotational power over long distances. And if I go into survival, you will notice that it don't, no matter how far the distance is, as long as it's like under, I don't know, 32 or 64 blocks, it only takes up 1 belt. And also when you stand on it, it automatically moves. Which is cool. Like escalators or something, I don't know. And that is pretty much all the basics of the Create mod. Now this series will get more in depth with how to make specific farms and such. I'm kind of gonna be releasing these videos in close proximity to one another in terms of time. So, if you want to learn, just go ahead and watch all these. I think the next one is going to be a tutorial on how to use the mechanical mixer and get to the brassing. Anyways, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.